We have Man Breast Manel Kape versus Gucci Gang Kyoji Horiguchi going down on June 20th this summer. Incredible flyweight matchup. Yeah, let's get that man titty off the screen before I receive a strike from YouTube. So this weekend we have Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, the 2000s kids battling it out for the flyweight title. However, these two are the OGs. We have Manel Kape, Kyoji Horiguchi, OG veteran flyweights that are really at the top of their physical primes right now. Manel Kape is fresh off of an easy-peasy knockout win over Brandon Royval. Royval, sorry for my raw dog enjoyers out there. Also his Asu Almabayev win, where he was constantly raking at the eyes of Asu, on top of just piecing him the fuck up on the feet, led to a retirement on the stool TKO. Asu's like, yeah, I'm beat to shit, I'm blind, I can't continue. Nasty work. You don't play around with Manel Kape. He might just be the best striker at flyweight right now. We need to see him versus Joshua Van eventually. But Kyoji Horiguchi's return to the UFC was so violent over Tagir Ulanbekov, we predicted it to happen. But I did not predict it to go like that. He just brutalized Tagir, who's like one of these new age sort of like weight bully flyweights with like, they're super plotty, oversized. Kyoji Horiguchi is a throwback to like the original OG flyweights with like, they're short as hell, they're like 5'3" with like a 60-inch reach, but like they move. They absolutely move. It's impossible to hit Horiguchi. He's all over the place. He beat the shit out of Tagir Ulanbekov and then submitted him with a rear naked choke. We never see Dagestanis get submitted these days, so I put a lot of stock into that personally. And last time out, just smashed up Amir Albazi. Like, absolutely take that fight. It's a free win. Amir's sort of a floater in the flyweight rankings, so good shit there. But these two actually fought, for you hardcores out there. This is a rematch. These two had an incredible fight in Ryzen all the way back in 2017, so almost 10 years ago these two fought, and what a clash of styles it was. You know, Kyoji Horiguchi, a very, very small flyweight, but maxed out speed, incredible footwork specialist. Manel Kape was packing a lot more power in that matchup. It was sort of a game of cat and mouse, and it was just a chaotic fight. Like, Kyoji Horiguchi was knocked out with a headbutt, was given time to recover, and then grew back into the fight and really started to put pressure on Manel Kape, eventually took him down and submitted him with an arm triangle. We really got to see that, you know, this was an all-time humbling for Manel Kape. He was a very cocky fighter back in the day and really needed some of these humblings, because is this matchup good versus evil? Because Manel Kape always seems to go on these incredible win streaks and then just develop just a crazy ego problem, just total main character syndrome, and this has the makings to be the best flyweight fight of all time. Like, these two were sort of doing their own things in other promotions when the flyweight division was first created in the UFC, so these two are flyweight royalty. We're gonna break it down, but we need to go stat by stat and get you guys the real game on this fight. It goes down June 20th. I think the winner of this one absolutely fights the winner of Joshua Van, Tatsuro Taira, which takes place this weekend. So UFC 328, the 2000s kids scrap it out to see who gets the title, but the Unks, the OGs, are up next. We got Manel Starboy Kape versus Kyoji, the Karate Kid, Horiguchi. As always, like, subscribe, and comment down below who you guys want to see next in sort of these rapid-fire breakdowns. I've got a few lined up, but let me know down below who you want to see next. First up is accuracy, and I'm going to give an edge to Manel Kape for being a more traditional boxer. We haven't seen karate really work at the elite level in MMA all that well. Kyoji Horiguchi has made it work with his footwork and his speed, but traditionally, karate suffers in MMA because it is so reliant on striking first and then gliding out. It's not a consistent way of landing your volume. It is powerful. However, this is flyweight, so yeah, Kyoji Horiguchi may have the speed advantage in his striking over Manel Kape, but I actually think Manel Kape is a more accurate puncher, delivers damage way more traditionally, effectively with his boxing. He's got phenomenal hands. Manel Kape doesn't have a consistent sort of downhill volume style like maybe Joshua Van, but when Manel Kape hits a flow state, dude, he launches into, like, I'm talking 10, 12 punch combos, like what he hit against Zalgus Zumagulov, whereas Gucci Gang Horiguchi, I think, is just going to be way too, like, focused on, like, staying mobile, looking for that perfect shot, whereas Manel Kape will just get more consistent work done across the distance here. Up next, we got that cardio, and this really comes down to how these two pace each other. Manel Kape sometimes just shows up to a fight and doesn't get out of high gear. He literally is like trapped in quicksand in some fights. Like if you go back and look at his Mateus Nicolau fight, I don't know why he's not just going. Even against Muhammad Makayev, Alexandre Pantoja, which was his debut, which is fucking crazy, but maybe just when you have this next level grappling, it can scare away Manel Kape because he threw nothing in those fights. He literally just stood out at range and looked at Muhammad Makayev, who pantsed him, by the way, and still didn't get a point deduction, which is just crazy, but no, I actually feel more comfortable giving a cardio edge to Kyoji Horiguchi because he's naturally smaller, so you hold your cardio better when you know you're not as oversized for the division. He is a little mini-me out there, I can never see him gassing out. Like, he went 5 rounds with the great Patchy Mix, still don't know how he lost that fight, just got completely size-mogged. Yeah, dude, if you dig through this career of Horiguchi, man, he has gone the distance so many times throughout his career, so you could argue we've never seen Manel Kape actually gas out in a fight before, but we have seen him, though, just become completely timid against certain opponents and, like, not push the type of pace that he needs to. He's lost a couple of decisions that way, some god-awful splits in his career where he just doesn't get going, so I will actually give a cardio edge to Kyoji Horiguchi based off of the way he paces himself in his fights more intelligently than Manel Kape does. Up next is dodge, and clear as day, it's going Kyoji Horiguchi. That is what his whole game is based off of, is karate evasion. That is one advantage of a karate base in MMA, is that fleet-footed, bladed, just like never able to be caught in any bad exchanges, and also just paired with how small Kyoji Horiguchi is. He's 5'4", with a 63-inch reach. It's incredibly hard to just hit him clean. Like, he has a couple bad knockout losses that we'll get into later, but for the most part, he's 36-5 in his career. He's incredibly hard to touch with damage, not a single split decision in his entire career. 15 unanimous decisions for him, only 2 decision losses. Patchy Mix is one of them. I don't know how. I've seen the fight. I actually rewatched it before making this video. Patchy Mix just sort of like stood in the center and like did nothing. But Kyoji Horiguchi just gave him way too much respect. Like, this was before, like, Patchy Mix had aura back then. Like, this was like the old Bellator days. He got wrapped up, he got just slimed all over, sludged all over. It was a really greasy grappling win from Mix, but when it's a pure striking contest, Kyoji Horiguchi is nearly impossible to hit clean, so he is getting a guaranteed dodge edge here. Up next is that fight IQ, the unseen, the inner mind of the martial artist. I think Manel Kape's generally a dumb human. He has a failed PED test in his past, he goes for fouls in his fights, he's missed weight, and he's just got a real chip on his shoulder all the time, and I don't think that serves him as a fighter. Not saying he's mentally ill, but just there's been a couple of Manel Kape performances that just haven't sat right with me. Like, first of all, Muhammad Makayev, let's get into it. He was going to get a title shot if he beat Muhammad Makayev, evidenced by the fact that they cut Makayev off of being undefeated in the UFC. They hated him, all right? He was on like a 7 or 8 fight win streak, and they still cut him out of the flyweight division. And so that was the most important fight for Manel Kape, and he essentially just threw it away. He completely self-sabotaged that bout. He didn't do anything except stand out at range and just look at Makayev. I guess he went into that bout like emotional because they had trash talk and beef leading in, or he was just horrified of the potential grappling of Muhammad Makayev, but really bad performance. I think I've given an argument as to why Manel Kape just, in most instances, can't be trusted. Chip on the shoulder, he's missed weight, failed PED test, he fouls, trains at Extreme Couture, the list goes on and on. I'm giving Manel Kape low fight IQ, whereas Kyoji Horiguchi, I've never seen really make a career fumble to the same degree as a Manel Kape. He trains at American Top Team. He's been there for about a decade, I believe. He's a good egg. You can't hate Kyoji Horiguchi, all right? He's been finished a couple times, but that's a separate issue we'll get into later. I don't think that dictates fight IQ necessarily. Up next is the grappling for these two, and Manel Kape used to go for a lot of takedowns in Ryzen. Now that he's in the UFC, he doesn't shoot at all. Neither of these guys are big grapplers. Kyoji Horiguchi did take out Tagir with a rear naked choke. That was just so nasty. That came at the end of a just absolute beatdown on the feet. The submission at the end was just the icing on the cake. So these two are striking specialists. I'm going to name them at both average grappling here. Up next is that KO power, and Manel Kape is honestly a destroyer. Like, when Manel Kape hits a flow state, he is probably the scariest striker at flyweight right now. Like, he can KO you, like the flying knee over Ode Osborne, that is just creative brutality. Like, I can watch that shit on repeat, even if it is an early stoppage and he fluked him, but I'm gonna give KO power edge to Manel Kape, like I have to. We've never seen him KO'd. Manel Kape, 14 knockouts in his career. He's never bit the dirt. He's never smelled that canvas. Kyoji doesn't really have knockouts in the UFC. He has some, don't get me wrong, Kyoji Horiguchi can put a striking beatdown, a striking masterclass on anybody, still not a KO. Like, I don't know, man. We might be overrating Horiguchi as, like, capable of knocking out or, like, masterclassing Manel Kape here. Like, what if he doesn't have the power to get rid of Kape? I think Kape will be all over him. Kape is the proven knockout artist in this matchup, whereas Horiguchi is sort of like a karate guy, masterclasses you with speed. So I think this is correct. I think Manel Kape is definitely the KO threat in this matchup without a doubt. And lastly, the big one here is toughness. Flyweight chins are an interesting one. I really like the chin of Manel Kape. I think he's a durable guy. I think he's comfortable in the pocket. He's been dropped all throughout his career, but his eyes have never went cross-eyed. Like, Manel Kape, I think, actually is a really durable guy that can hang tough in the most wild of fights. The Felipe Dos Santos fight was a war, and he just stood tough. He ate elbows on the chin and the temple in that fight and never went anywhere. Dude, I can just see Horiguchi being perfect for the whole fight and then getting fluked by Manel Kape. That's the game of Kape, right? It's just hit these flow states, get all over you with the punches, and I gotta give a big toughness edge to Kape here. Dude, Manel Kape has fought some striking wizards throughout his career, and he's never been knocked out. I think that speaks volumes here. We have seen Kyoji Horiguchi smelling that canvas, so I'm gonna give a toughness edge to Starboy Manel Kape. And that about does it. We have just gone stat by stat. I think this is the most high-level matchup at flyweight right now. These two were on a collision course for a long time. They fought roughly 10 years ago in Japan, and you should check out that fight. It's absolute fireworks and technically satisfying. These two are the Unks right now. We got the 2000s kids, Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. Next-gen flyweight prospects gunning it out at 328 here for the flyweight title. I think the winner of this fight in the summer challenges them next. Who do you guys got in this matchup? Hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Comment down below who you want to see next. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.